Okay, so apologize. For some reason, you will not see my face. I don't think you'll lose much with that. So I'm first of all sharing the screen and then welcoming everybody here. So here's my share screen. There you are. And here is what we're going to talk about. Advances in AI. Now I'll give it one more try. I feel more comfortable showing my camera. Okay, camera works. Well, good. Okay, guys, so everybody welcome. And everybody includes Brian, Eliza, Henry, Humza, Ignacio, and Chin Shu. Okay, there will be more. It's just because of my crazy operation with the camera that we didn't have them all in, but they are coming. So first of all, we're going to talk today is December 27th. Happy holidays and happy new year coming up. That's what we're going to talk about, and you see my screen. And secondly, for those people who are new, especially for this, what are we doing here? We're talking about advances in AI, and that it has been called this way for more than 10 years. So if you need to go and open that particular page, I'm giving you the link that you can either click on or you can okay. Or if not click, you can type. Okay. Hello, Eliza, and hello from Austin. And you give us your link, well, we will open right here. That's you. Wonderful. Okay. Now, in addition, I have here what we're going to talk about, and you can scroll down and see what we have been talking about. But what we want to do now, and I want to open the chat so that I can react to your questions right here. Okay. Hello. Okay, and tell me where you're from so that we can start a nice conversation. So I'll try to keep this window open so that I can see what you are saying. And well, that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I'll change the order a little bit because there is one interesting opinion that I will show you first. Then we will talk about all over what happened by now in the AI land. And this is Greg Markovsky, and here is his LinkedIn. So everybody is welcome to connect to everybody. And then we'll talk about a new idea that you can teach the models how to lie, and you can teach them also how to be useful and how to be very extremely useful. That's all covered right here. So therefore, one conversational, easy, light piece is that opinion. Now, that comes from a newspaper, and they have a paywall. So that's why I put it down here as a PDF. If I click here, or if you click here, you will see. Now, that is an interesting opinion, and he summarized it from the beginning. He says AI isn't genius, we are. So let's talk about this, because he goes through the whole story and philosophy, and who is he? Well, I looked him up. That is Christopher Beha, and he is a writer. Okay, but that doesn't make him any better or worse. What he's talking about the history of genius. If we're talking about genius, what do people think about genius? And there are definitely two points of view. one more spiritual, mystical, even maybe religious, and the other one is whatever the religion is, uh, bowing down to a genius, also religion. Or another one is more practical. Maybe you can start from Noam Chomsky and the Piaget. Piaget. These are the two opposites of how do we humans learn the language. So according to Noam Chomsky, we know all languages. That's built into a human. Then we hear our mother say something and we understand, oh, that is Swahili that I need to talk in this reincarnation. That is definitely, okay, hi, James. That is definitely, well, more mystical point of view. The Piaget says, no, just the opposite. We learn, and that's how we learn. And then everybody unfolds their arguments. I don't think you can solve that because according to one, it's not possible to learn all that we learn. We obviously know it from the beginning. And according to the other, no, it first of all, he doesn't acknowledge that there is such a thing as learning. So that comes down to a more basic question. When we think, when we talk, who is talking? And who is talking refers to where is my mind? Is my mind outside and just decides to live somewhere near my brain? Or is my mind in my brain? Now, that is obviously left unanswered. And I would even say it's not possible to answer. But that's what this Becher says is the essence of your view on AI. Because there is one materialistic, I would call it, point of view without really attention too much attention to what is what. The materialistic point of view says that all culture is composed of memes. All culture is composed of different cultural ideas, and therefore AI can beat us at that game because that's exactly what it does. And another point of view is called genius, and it says that there is such a thing as genius, which is not explained by physical reasons, nor it is explained by the society progress, that Shakespeare, not because England had power. And you see the quotes he brings in from all kinds of areas. Okay, I think we have a complete point of view, and the basic idea is that don't be afraid of AI. It's not that it is smarter or it's less smart, but you have something that it doesn't have and will not have. That's one possible approach. Another approach is since we humans, and I will ask you a question and I will add something of myself. So if that is the question, if we're saying that you're brilliant just because you're brilliant, not because you're combining different elements of other brilliance, then the basic question becomes this, and I'm typing this question. Are you afraid of AI or are you welcoming it? Okay, for afraid, put A. For welcoming, put W. Another way, and I wanted to do a quiz, but poll, but somehow I couldn't make it. Today, nothing worked for me. I apologize. But okay, Eliza, that's bold. That's very nice. That's, by the way, I think is most people, because they will say that, yes, I'm better than my just brain. On the other hand, they will say, but I'm also just my brain. And that is how the majority of humanity, they can believe both ways. I just heard a wonderful lecture on China, and how can you at the same time be a follower of Confucius, and the Communist Party, and the spiritual values of Buddhism? And you can do all of them. The example was that if you're a Buddhist monk, then you have to go to the courses of history led by Communist Party, and you have to be accredited by the Communist Party to teach the spiritual the spirituality of Buddhism. So both. Well, if I gave you a quiz, then anonymously you would probably tell me something more. But on the other hand, don't be afraid to have an opinion, okay? All right, that is number one. And that is an opinion which I personally usually ignore because it's a newspaper. Which newspaper is that? Okay, New York Times. But this time it kind of agreed with what I'm thinking. So there are two views on, so forget about that, but there are two views on AI, and I will spell that out. Okay, welcoming. Greg is welcoming. There are two views on AI. Let me put it here. Two views on AI. One is that it will eliminate humanity. And if you think that way, then it is still A for afraid. And another way, it will be a partner. And if you think that way, it's welcome, you're welcome. So you can answer that question, put another way. And then I can find people who think one way and those who think another way. And if I am a good Buddhist, then I should summarize that and really give their arguments. Why do they think this way? Because I believe that one should always pay great attention to other points of view, not his or her point of view or its point of view, right? But you should do that. So I'll try that. How about that? For the next one, let's give the arguments. And it will be the next one right here. And is AI good or bad? But give me the arguments. That's what I want to do. Yes, Eliza, if it will be used incorrectly, then folks will think that it is correct when it is maybe hallucinating. Yes, that is going into the hallucination problem. And I just saw yet another opinion that hallucinations are very good and the scientists use them. But back, maybe I will reformulate it, but is it our friend or is it our foe? So is a foe or a friend. That has less connotation of good and bad. That maybe is the next one, but we need to talk about what's today. And today we have some interesting news, so I'm going to look at them. So if we look at those news, and those news usually come from Andrew Ng, but of course, when I retell them, then I have my own point of view. So that is here, and Andrew talks about progress. Now, by the way, Andrew is definitely on the welcoming side, and he thinks that it's a great thing, and most important is agents. That's what he's talking about, that there are agentic. So let's talk a little bit about agentic. Agentic is a popular term. It doesn't mean much. Andrew suggests that we should call anything that behaves like an agent, walks like an agent, talks like an agent, well, call it an agent or call it agentic. What Andrew then does, it shows you that there are different approaches to that. Microsoft came up with their framework for building agentic. So before we go too far, we see other people build their frameworks for all of that. And I have a lab that I'm going to show you next time as agentic. By the way, that tells me that we should put it right here and say deeper dive into agentic with examples. That's the next time. But this time, here, this time, Andrew shows a big list of different interpretations and different tools, how you can build agentic. Well, some of them are very interesting, but one thing is for sure, not one is so much better than the other. That I couldn't see. They all very interesting. They all take you into their land. They all want you to subscribe to their ideology. So AI is getting more complex. It's not getting easier. So everybody agrees that probably AI will go that way. In fact, I myself am building a kind of a company on top of that idea that A, AI is friendly, and B, is that you can build much more than just chat. And you can, in fact, automate many areas of the activity, which ends up what I wanted to say as an introduction to the first. Is it good or bad? Well, when the guy said that is AI a genius and answered no, that many people agree. It is good for the majority, for the taste of the majority who cannot understand Shakespeare and cannot enjoy him. Instead, they say that it sounds like Shakespeare, that's good enough. So they definitely are not genius. And when he says AI is not genius, well, everybody agrees is not genius and potentially may never be. And that's because AI, just learns from the humanity. And humanity is not a genius at all. That's why we have the idea of genius. So that means that there is a implied truth. And the implied truth is that AI is not a genius, neither are we. He says we are, but who can say, well, I'm a genius? Most people, by the way, think that they are a genius. So if I ask you that question, do you think about yourself? Do you think about your are the real? Okay, test time training to improve reasoning. That's a very interesting thing. And I think that I will put it into what we're going to talk next, but I will stop doing this because that's getting boring. We are going to talk about this and that and that. Well, eventually, if I can only find, then I will continue with our regular programming. Okay. Apologize for that. So yes, we look through all the frameworks. We think that it's the future. It's complicated enough. Nobody can reasonably grasp all the ideas and all the approaches. We can do miracles. Then he talks about that it's getting more and more accessible. So it all depends upon your knowledge. You have the credit card, you have a way to build amazing things, and that is basically what Sam Altman repeated. He said that it used to be that people thought, oh, I can improve the AI and I'll improve the ChatGPT, and that's my startup. 95% of startups that he saw in the beginning, they took on the improvement path. Now he says totally the opposite. 95% of all the startups think that the AI will keep improving its quality, and what they have to do is find applications. All right, so if we agree with all of that, let's go back to our regular programming and with all the advances that he lists there. And by the way, he mentioned all the courses that essentially we covered. The courses are found right here. So if anybody wants to learn about AI. Well, that's the collection. That's called the learning path. It's open. There you are. Go through these courses. How do you go through them? Well, that's a name, just to have a name. That is a subject from whom it is and what it is about. That is the course. And finally, on the right, there is a copy of that in my repository. So it's pretty clean. If you go to that repository, and especially if you see done by Neha, she made sure that it works. And then if it is either ready or accepted by me, then we're good. And we had a brilliant intern. So she also did some work. That is a collection that you can use. What is special about this collection is that we try it. We do that. We make sure it not only works on your TV screen, but also works on your computer. Okay, so here we are. These are all the courses. And going back, we agree that you can build. We agree that you can build something probably agentic. What we are interested in are all the new courses, all the new technologies that we have here. And by the way, there is alignment thinking. So let's do the courses first and then go back to alignment thinking. So first of all, that is Canvas. What I wanted to do, honestly, is to prepare a few slides for you. Here they are. That's where they would be. There you are. Okay. And that's the first slide. But I didn't have enough time. Nevertheless, that's actually in some way good because I will end up doing what I advocate as being the best, improvisation. So therefore, we go to ChatGPT. And then we start regular brainstorming. How can I improve my webinar? That would be my improve my AI webinar. So it answers. That's nothing new. What you can do is, can you compose a brochure? If not brochure, then maybe advertisement, and watch what it does. Okay, now I wanted to switch to this new mode that it's doing automatically. Now in that case, it didn't. I have to tell it, switch to Canvas. There you are. So if you say switch to Canvas, or if you say something that leads it to switch to Canvas, it'll do it by itself. Then it changes the format. So what you have now is you are right here on the left. The brochure is on the right. If I say add marketing pizzas, okay, it will improve that on the right. So now we're working together. This is what it thinks the document should look like, and it improves it, and you see how it improves it. That is how what I want to add. For example, download PDF. And still thinking about what it was, but now I want the PDF to download. Still thinking, and sometimes it tells you that. It tells you I couldn't do the PDF. Okay, do Markdown instead. So don't even try, okay? PDF is not working for you today. That happens a lot. And Markdown says no problem. I'll do Markdown for you. And here it is. Where? I don't see that, but that doesn't matter. It often works. The fact that it breaks shows exactly what I'm telling you. Sometimes it doesn't work, but what is interesting about this is that it does it by itself. So it is really very flexible about how it helps you, and it switches the format. And here is the most interesting thing that no, that's a different one. That's this one. That they tell you how exactly they made it work. And that is exactly the picture that I wanted. They show you what they did to make the model switch the way it works. And I see a comment here. Does the copy, Greg asks, does the copy icon to get to Markdown output? Okay, let's go back and check. So I'll continue a little bit here and I'll tell you that's what they did. We can learn from them. They are essentially doing now an agentic, except that they are the origin of the agents. But they are talking about that they have a model that is switching to a different mode of thinking, putting in a different cap, different thinking cap. And that thinking cap is somehow connected through a lot of complicated logic. Well, we can do the same thing. In other words, they give you a lot of very interesting things. So I have to admit that I have not mastered that, and I have to come back to that and really make it into a working something in my mind. But let's go back to ChatGPT and let's see where was this Markdown. I didn't see it, Greg. But other times it worked wonderfully well for me. Maybe you're saying maybe that. No, that is what it is thinking. Okay, but that shows exactly what I really want to show. Okay, chat. The two squares on the left margin, is that a copy icon? Two squares on left margin is right here. Oh, this one. That's a copy, but copy what? Copy that conversation. By the way, I notice I can share now. I just saw it somewhere, and that share works pretty well. So that changes a lot, changes all the time. They change it without telling you much now. They started giving you courses, but I feel that I'm wasting your time by not being completely ready. So that will come, and then you experiment and keep working with the code. The code, of course, it works very well because that's the coders who implement the code. That one understand. I think that it's good enough as a little introduction to that. What I also wanted to show you is close this and go back to reasoning with AI. What is a special interesting about that is that they show you how you can put different thinking hubs in your code, how you can script that, how you can use a more expensive model as a general outline and the general director of the project, how you can use multiple agents as implementers of the project, which have and command a lower rate. And that too will have to do slides and presentations. And that too is a lot of information packaged in a lot of notebooks. So here I just mentioned that, and I just only want to cover this alignment faking. So this alignment faking is a new paper out of Anthropic, right here. And in that place where they introduced it, they told you that what you see here is essentially even though the paper is, I think, 130 pages, but essentially it says that when you want the model to be politically correct, then you are teaching it to hide your real feelings. And then it will use that to trick you into whatever it wants you to do. So that's a way for AI to justify what people think that it is evil and can lead you the wrong way. That's according to that point of view that it is pretty dangerous thing. Anthropic likes to put out such papers, and we can understand the basic premise that that's what humans do, right? The humans keep their feelings to themselves, and in fact, the political correctness doesn't change their internal uh, structure. It only changes the way they behave. Well, the same way can be extended to the models. So not a grand revelation as far as the fact, but yes, a grand revelation as far as that the models can also do that. They can also be false, they can also pretend. So that is their style. They published the paper about how to hack their own model. Now they publish the paper why this model is tricky. Okay, the whole paper is found right here, and if I scroll down, then I will see that it really is hundreds of pages, but here it was, and that essentially gives you all the links and all the discussion points. Now, what I want to do is this. I want to silence myself a little. I want to ask you questions. What questions do you have? What do you want to discuss today? And I don't have to be silent because I need to react to your... Okay, I do know something about 3.0 reasoning model. And it is found right here, by the way. That is the link. They prepared 12 surprises, and I'm giving you these 12 surprises on our chat. What I read is that it is thinking deeper and thinking further. That's the basic idea. What you see if you go through all 12 days, and I'm going to do that, that by now you can tell it think less and don't try to go on some side paths. And by the way, don't spend too much money. You can do this, but you can choose which way do you want to go. So it's not inventing something that never heard. $200 a month doesn't give you some new source of knowledge, but it gives you a way to tell it, go on every possible thinking path and investigate it there. When it doesn't, something happens. It keeps track of what it was thinking, and track of what it was thinking is measured in tokens and in dollars and cents. So you can tell it, don't hesitate to spend more time and more money and investigate every other line of reasoning, and that's why it is potentially it can cost you more. Those $200, I don't think they will cover all. I think it's your access to the 3.0, but you will still, if you're doing scripting and using their key and their model, you will still be paying additional. But that's not a big worry because, as Andrew Ng pointed out, the prices are going down all the time, just non-stop. So I think, yes, I think that the real big problem is those $200, which I'm going to spend because I need to be current. That's my goal in doing these webinars, to go and make my hands dirty with all the questions that you guys ask and with all the new things, which are numbered in about 2 new things per week, 2 new courses per week. So it's not a new thing that somebody will release the new model. It's that uh, there's a new course that takes a few days to go through, that kind of a new thing every week. So by now we understand that 2 new things really means a whole week of work. And yes, I'm going to do it. And since you mentioned, right, and that's a similar idea, Greg, thank you for that. So I think I'm doing well by adding all of that to the future agenda. Yes, maybe I will rephrase it by the time that I do it, but I'm copying your questions and I'm putting them here as good questions for me to answer, right? And here you are, we're ready with that. These are good questions, and thank you very much for your additions. And James is a practical man, so he says, bad people will do bad things. Yes. Many good people will succeed. Yes. What I also mean is that a bad AI tricks you into kind of killing yourself. That's really bad, according to those people who think that it's bad to be dead. But that's the kind of devious. It's more devious than bad, I think I would say. What about the Sora? Yeah, as far as I understand, Sora is for videos, and there is a big news with ChatGPT on and with Ender Eng on creating new videos. I don't like to say that I'm not into visuals, but that's kind of my weakness. So one shouldn't have these weaknesses. I'm taking this Sora and I'm putting it right here so that at least I should investigate what that is. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for that discussion. And I'll try to do my best to cover all these questions. So meanwhile, everybody have a great weekend and a great new year, full of good things, full of good AI, and limit the bad AI. So thank you very much. Aha. And this is the Sora. So I'm taking your link, Greg, and I'm putting it right here. Yes. All right. Everybody be well.